Hey, what's up guys? My name is Ty, Chinese name 铁蛋儿, which means iron eggs. I've been in China for 10 years now. Originally from Portland, Oregon, northwest of the US. And I am here in the northeast of China in a city called Douyin. And I get questions all the time about working in China, questions about visas, questions about contracts, questions about how much money people should be making, how much money people should be paying for apartments, utilities, blah, 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 blah. So I have decided to dedicate a series to answering questions and giving information about working in China. Today is the introduction video, first introduction to myself, and now we're gonna be talking about our first topic, which is how much money can you expect to be earning in 2019 in different parts of China. So before we film, let me show you a little bit of background on me. This is our condo. We bought a condo here 2 years ago, and that is our car. We bought it used for, how much did I pay for this? We paid 57,000 RMB, so like 8,500 US, something like that. It's a Buick, but only made in China. Anyway, I'm gonna take you guys up to the hillside behind my house because it's a prettier view up there. Also, if you guys have any questions about working in China or living in China, Chinese culture, whatever, just leave in a comment below and I'll do my best to either answer your questions directly in a comment, or I can even make a video answering your question. Yeah, that's fun too. Also, a little bit more background on me is I am married to a Chinese woman. She is from Dalian, and we have a 2.5-year-old son. I met her my 3rd year in China. I could already speak Chinese before I met her. We've been married for more than 4 years now. We dated for 3 years prior to getting married. It's a whole nother video. I'm not gonna get into it right now. But if you guys have any questions about relationships in China, being married to a Chinese woman, or having a child in China, you can ask me those too. Sorry for the huffing and puffing. This is a steep hill. Okay, now we're at the top of this hill behind my home. There's my home back over there. And I'm gonna sit right in the middle here. So on the outside of this, you can see, oh, there's mine. 天秤座 or 天秤座. This is like a Chinese sign. This is all around. It's kind of cool. This is at the top of the hill. Okay. All right. Got my little notepad, took some notes. First off, let me tell you that I started in 2008 and I started as an ESL teacher, teaching English as a second language. And at that time I was making, this is so funny, every month I was making 6,600 RMB, which was less than 1,000 US dollars at the time. 1,000 US dollars at the time was 7,200 RMB. So now that same position, I researched this the other day, and that same position, same school, the hours have not changed at all. And now they're making, starting salary is around 15,000 a month. So it's more than doubled in the last 10, 11 years. Anyway, so I did some research on some different cities and different positions, mostly teaching positions in China, because that's mostly what you're gonna find for foreigners in China. It's by far the highest in-demand position for foreigners working in China. Is definitely teaching something, mostly teaching English as a second language. Of the money I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk about after-tax money, okay? So right now, currently, it's 6.7 RMB to 1 US dollar. Now, I think for most teaching positions in China, you're going to be looking at roughly between 12,000 and 20,000 RMB. Of course, there are going to be those outliers out there. There's going to be less money out there, and there's going to be more money out there. But I think for a rough blanket statement for all over China, teaching English in China, you're going to be making between 12,000 and 20,000 RMB. Now let's get down to some more details there. So I saw positions recently that were roughly 20 teaching hours per week, so 80 hours on a contract month. Teaching hours, okay? A lot of them were between 15,000 and 17,000 RMB. Then there were a lot of contracts out there for 100 teaching hours per month, so like 25 hours a week, and those were closer to 20,000 RMB a month. Typical office hours here in China, I think you're gonna be seeing between 5 and 10 hours a week. So it's very casual. So the load is pretty light. I think it's pretty good money to teach in China. You can save a lot of money because the cost of living is a lot lower, at least than in Portland, Oregon. Anyway, break this down even more is when you work at a kindergarten, I think the salary range is going to be a little bit higher, like 18 to 22,000 a month. And if you work in a university in China, you're going to be on the lower side, so like between 8,000 and 12,000 a month. Now, keep in mind that a lot of these jobs will provide you with free housing on top of that, but beware, free housing is not always the best thing in the world. In my opinion, I would rather have the choice of where I'm going to live, so I'd rather get all my compensation package in a salary and then be able to go find my own apartment, pay for my own apartment. Just allows for more freedom and flexibility. That's my preference. However, you'll have to pay 3 to 6 months in advance rent, which we can talk about that in another video. Now keep in mind, when you're looking at contracts for teaching, there are a lot of bonuses. They give end of year bonuses or quarter bonuses sometimes, and a lot of flight reimbursement bonuses after the year is complete, after your first contract year is complete. So that's something to look for as well. Other than that, I've had a lot of people ask me about teaching other subjects like business or biology, chemistry, and those jobs are out there, but a lot of people are looking for those jobs, so they're kind of harder to find. However, they do tend to pay a little bit better. I would say they're more on that 18 to 22,000 range. I saw one just the other day for 18,000 after tax. It's 22 hours of teaching and no office hours, which is stupid because you're going to have office hours anyway if you're going to be marking papers or tests or doing, preparing for classes. And then 10,000 RMB bonus. So, and then I looked here, looked at some primary schools. I saw a lot of between 15 and 17,000 for 28 periods, teaching hours, and the teaching hour for that was 40 minutes with an 8,000 RMB bonus. So that's something just for reference. That was in Guangdong. The bio and chemistry job was in Hubei. And then I saw another primary school position in Zhejiang, Hangzhou, and it was between 15 and 25,000 RMB. So you can see a huge range there. I looked at a Chongqing kindergarten. It was between 15 and 16,000 RMB. So that one's a little bit lower than what I just previously said. I've been in Dalian for most of my time here, and the numbers I'm talking about are normal for Dalian as well. So you're going to see, oftentimes what's kind of funny is that in these bigger cities like Shanghai, where there are a ton of foreigners, the pay is maybe not as good because there's a bigger supply of teachers. So that's something to look out for as well. The cost of living is going to be higher and you might not get paid a lot more. So when you're looking for a teaching position in China, you might want to look all over, look at your options, and definitely think about the cost of living. As far as other jobs outside of teaching, they're here, but everybody wants them. I think that a lot of people don't want to be teaching English in China. However, they want to live in China and work in China. And so they're looking for sales jobs or marketing jobs or social media jobs, stuff like that. And in my opinion, they don't pay as well. Again, supply and demand. And it's really easy to prove your value when you're in a classroom teaching all these students. You just look at the students and it's like dollar signs above their heads, right? When you go into a sales position or a marketing position, you can make a lot of money there too as well, but you have to prove yourself. You have to sell. You have to rely on a lot of commission and whatnot. So I think these, teaching's where the easier money is at. I'm not saying teaching is easy. It's just that's kind of a safer bet if you want to make good money, save money, hit it quick, come to China and work for 2 to 5 years, that kind of thing. Sales, marketing, whatever background, then you're gonna have to work your ass off and just like back home. And don't expect a huge salary right off the bat. Like if you're being hired in China, don't expect Western wages. Unless you're brought over by a company, like a huge company like HP, Nike, whatever, don't expect Western salary at all. Some tips here before we go is check the fine print of your contract. Definitely, there's always these things in contracts that you want to look out for. So if you ever have any questions about your contracts, you can ask me. Look out for being paid or unpaid holidays, look out for that. Look out for the salary being pre-tax or after-tax. Talk to the staff. Before you go work somewhere, you've done these interviews online, ask to speak with an employee there. They're going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's one of my best pieces of advice. And also, try your best to find a place where there is a foreigner in a management position. I cannot stress that enough. Try to find a company to work for, a school to work for, where there's a foreigner in a management position. Because they won't have all the power in the world, but look out for whether or not the apartment's included, or if there is a free apartment, have them show you a video or some pictures of the apartments. And, you hear nightmare stories about people getting free apartments that are not the best out there, right? Another thing is you can try to Google the school or the company you're going to go work for. However, there's going to be disgruntled employees out there all the time, and especially in China, you run into some weird foreigners working here in China. A lot of them, actually. And, they like to complain and they like to say bad things about situations that were really nobody else's fault other than themselves. So take that with a grain of salt, I would say. Other than that, if you guys have any questions about working in China or living in China, Chinese culture, whatever, hit me up. I'm kind of like the China guy. I've been here for over 10 years. Speak Chinese and married to a Chinese woman, have a child here, and have a business here. And I'm very active in social media. I'll leave my Chinese social media accounts down below for your reference if you want to. All the content's in Chinese, however, a lot of it has English subtitles as well, so you can check that out. But yeah, don't forget to follow the channel and let me know if you guys have any questions, and let me know if there's any other topic you want me to address in the future. I'll do my best to answer. One more thing before I go, I just want to say that I love China, as you can probably see. If you check out my social media in China, you'll see that China's awesome. There's so many awesome things about this country. The people, the food, the environment, the way of life here. So I'm a huge advocate for working in China and living in China, and I respect this country and the people a lot. So my advice is going to be more on the positive side than anything. I mean, I've just had a really positive experience here, so that's just a little bit more of a background on my take on this country. So thank you for watching, thank you for following, and I'll speak to you guys soon, alright? Take care, peace!